Plants vs. Zombies has been around for 17 years now, and in that time, a lot has happened. There's 3 mainline games, 3 shooter games, some spin-offs, and that's it, right? Well, just in that statement alone, I can call out multiple little-known facts you might not know about the series. Plants vs. Zombies 3 has had 3 different re-releases, first looking like this, then becoming Welcome to Zomburbia, and now being known as PvZ3 Evolved. There's actually dozens of extra PvZ games that exist only in China, and there's loads of comics, a cancelled movie, concepts for an animated series, and so much more. On top of lore, theories, and fan-made stuff important enough to bring into the conversation of these games. So, without a doubt, Plants vs. Zombies is one of the best series you could possibly make an iceberg about. There are secrets, cut content, and interesting trivia for every game in the series. So here's how I've structured my iceberg for today. Combining facts I found on other icebergs, trivia videos, and my own knowledge from making videos on the series, I've constructed my very own iceberg for this video, with the tiers themed around the worlds of PvZ2. Meaning, yes, there are 11 tiers to get through in this video, and that's why it's so long. But in my experience, people like long icebergs, and so I want to do it justice today. My goal was to make the best Plants vs. Zombies iceberg out there, and by the end you gotta let me know if I've achieved that or not. And let me know if you have any criticisms on how this video is structured, or if there are any cool facts I didn't cover here. I love learning more about this series, and there's no possible way I will cover every interesting thing about this franchise in this video, but I'm gonna try my best, so let's get started. Without further ado, let's discuss some of the more commonly well-known trivia on the surface, then plunge into the depths to learn the juicy and depraved secrets that are so hidden, just thinking about them makes me nervous. Ancient Egypt. Michael Jackson Zombie. When the very first game released in 2009, the dancing zombie was designed to literally just be Michael Jackson, down to his Thriller costume and moonwalk entrance. And 1 month after the game released, Michael Jackson passed away, and this unfortunate timing led to his estate contacting PopCap and having them remove the design from the game. I wonder if Michael Jackson hadn't died so close to its release, if we'd still have that version of the character to this day. Garden Warfare Slenderman. In the Zomboss estate map in Garden Warfare, you can find Slenderman hiding out in the woods, an Easter egg I believe every game with woods should have, because that's always creepy to stumble upon. In a later update, they changed it to a chomper eating Slenderman, which is so goddamn funny, I can't believe that's actually real. Sponsorships. Plants vs. Zombies has had quite a few in-game sponsorships that greatly impact the game. The most famous example would be the sponsored plants and zombie classes in Garden Warfare, like the Berry Shooter and Citrus Cactus for Aquafina Flavor Splash, or Dr. Chester and Chester Chomper for Cheetos. There's an obvious winner between the two, all thanks to that incredible Chomper. And while not necessarily a sponsorship, the Z7 imp was put in as a collaboration with Mass Effect. I don't know anything about Mass Effect, so that was actually news to me. In PvZ2, Flo from Progresso shows up in the game's art style, which feels really cursed to me. She's like the only other human besides Crazy Dave in the entire game. There's even technically a Subway Surfers collaboration, but that one only took place between the 2 Chinese versions of those games. Still crazy though. EA bad, PopCap good. This is just a common sentiment among the fandom that is so popular and widespread that it is at the surface of our iceberg. If you aren't aware, EA now owns PopCap, and a lot of people associate that with the decline of the series. If you've ever seen a video that looks like this, or this, or this, or this, or this, yeah, all this shit has been categorized by the phrase, EA bad, PopCap good. EA has lots of problems, but at this point, most people have come to understand it is not the sole reason PvZ is where it's at today. And in fact, the Garden Warfare series and tons of other good things we've gotten over the years happened because of EA. I think the fad of saying EA bad, PopCap good is mostly gone. It's memed on so hard now, people say EA bad, PopCap worse, which is pretty funny. Bookworm. In the Achievements tab of Plants vs. Zombies, you can find an Easter egg of one of PopCap's other mascots, Lex from Bookworm Adventures. An amazing game, by the way, and one of my favorite Easter eggs simply because Lex is the best. You can also find him in the trunk of Crazy Dave's car. He better not be getting kidnapped right now. There's also references to a bunch of PopCap's games as you scroll down. Bejeweled Gems, a trapped Chuzzle guy, Bjorn from Peggles, Skeletal Corpse? That's crazy. But scrolling all the way down leads to Pecking Express. This is maybe one of the best secrets to find in any game ever. If you choose to discover China, a level from the Great Wall version of the game gets played. I am shocked they kept this in Replanted, but even they realized this Easter egg was too awesome to forget about. PvZ Comics. There's actually a lot of Plants vs. Zombies comics out there, which helped show the personality of Zomboss, give dialogue to the damn plants, and introduce some of the main characters of the series like Patrice and Nate. I've never read any of the comics, but they seem to be pretty good based on what I've heard from the community, and if you like the lore and world building of this series, this is pretty much the only official media out there to satisfy you. Additionally, there are Chinese comic series, and I never know what's happening in these unhinged panels, but clearly it is over the top and unlike anything else in PvZ. I have no clue if this is true, but apparently one of the Chinese comics talks about how plants have organs and reproductive systems and can get diseases and shit, but take all that with a grain of salt because, again, I do not speak Chinese. Zach Scott Games. If you've ever looked up a Plants vs. Zombies game on YouTube, chances are you've seen a thumbnail like this pop up on your screen. Zach Scott is a popular YouTuber known for playing Nintendo games and every Plants vs. Zombies game out there, and he is more dedicated to Plants vs. Zombies 2 than any other living being on Earth. I have to wonder if he even enjoys playing this game anymore.
Hey Jake, it's me, Zach Scott from Zach Scott Games, here to talk about Plants vs. Zombies, my fondest memories, and what I think about the series. As you probably know, I love the Plants vs. Zombies series. It's, the first game that got me into tower defense style games. When they spun it off and they did, Garden Warfare, I wasn't so sure how it would be, but I thought they did a fantastic job with it. And I might like Garden Warfare more than the base PvZ game. Anytime that I worked with PopCap and I went to Seattle, and got to meet the people behind the game. That was like a decade ago, there was that one time I went to PopCap in like 2015 and won the world key for everyone. Everyone's got to remember that. They owe me. Everyone owes me. I feel like they've been on kind of a downtrend lately. I mean, we've been starving for PvZ content. I still play PvZ 2. I have over 1,000 episodes of it. And I still enjoy it. I still enjoy covering all the Plants vs. Zombies content. I would love it if they would bring back like another shooter. Garden Warfare 3, please. I would love to see another card game. I would love to see like an adventure game, something like that. I would love to see a movie. But I am excited about PvZ 3 if they can perfect it. I think they could be close. It's hard to tell. They've had like several builds of it. And you know how they've been. But and I like their, how they seem to be somewhat open to the mod community as well. I think they've been very friendly towards the mod community, and I love what the community has done with games like Reflourish and stuff. And I haven't even played like anything other than Reflourish as far as the mod goes, but I really hope that PvZ has a bigger and brighter future. I'm going to be playing it every step of the way, even if it doesn't. I'll be playing it all the way to the ground if I have to. No, but I have confidence that they're going to get the right people in there and release a truly stellar product eventually. And if not, I am very thankful for all that they put out. I cannot forget I think for me, the peak times, the Garden Warfare 2 is the peak era for PvZ, in my opinion.
And a little fun fact, Zach Scott was the first YouTuber I ever subscribed to when he made Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon videos back in 2013. The good old days.
All right, calm down, Zach. You're live. You're live, Zach. Jake Miller, I can't remember last time I felt this cozy. Where's my Tinkaton card?
PvZ ports. The original Plants vs. Zombies game got ported to pretty much every possible device back in the day, which is interesting in and of itself. But some of these versions actually have unique content. The console releases on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 had versus and co-op modes. It's kind of the definitive version of the game, since it has everything the PC version had and more, and looked quite a bit nicer. The DS also had versus mode, but no co-op mode, I guess, and some unique minigames that no other versions have ever gotten. And maybe one of the worst looking, yet most charming graphics quality for the entire series. And then we got Replanted recently, which tries to be the best by having everything other than those DS minigames. I'm not going to go into why Replanted isn't the definitive version on this Iceberg, but 100 YouTubers posted the exact same opinions on why it wasn't, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. These are the most well-known versions, but there's even some weird ones, usually for random mobile devices, like the Nook version, which has no minigames, survival mode, or puzzle mode. mode, and it's even missing achievements, although most of these probably came from those modes anyways. There's an Android TV version that is almost like the Xbox or PS3 version, except it's apparently harder and has microtransactions. That's pretty funny. And of course, the best version of all, the one you can find at Red Robin or Olive Garden on those little kiosks. Someone made a video beating the whole game on one, and honestly, I am jealous of that video idea, and sad someone did it before I could. There's actually one more version I want to cover, but much further down the iceberg. PvZ2's original version. The way PvZ2 was originally structured is completely different to how it is now. The world maps were less linear, and any footage of the first couple worlds when the game launched can show you what I mean. The game has evolved a lot over time, but I've always sort of felt nostalgic for the way it was meant to work from the start. Impossible Roof. People love to talk about how Zomboss's robot should have absolutely demolished the player's house, yet he stands on it completely fine, therefore defying the laws of physics. That's really silly. Nothing I've ever thought or cared about before, and I'm honestly pushing that out of my mind and never thinking about it ever again. Zombotany. This is an unused song in the original PvZ soundtrack. Since there's a Zombotany minigame, chances are it was meant to be played there, but I don't think we know the answer for sure. People also say it was meant to be the final boss music, but was replaced. Let's take a little listen. Zam! That's good. Zam, that's good. That's the background music now as we move to the Pirate Seas. Chinese PvZ games. Ever since I made my first Plants vs. Zombies video, I've learned about just how popular the series is in China. So much so that Crazy Dave in this photo is literally saying, "Hey you, yeah you, learn Chinese!" There are more Chinese Plants vs. Zombies games than there are internationally, so much so that most of them have little to no information on them. It is hard to even find videos for some of these. For every game though, there's always a lack of quality. For example, the character design. Spotting which plant in this group is from a Chinese game is not difficult, and that's just one of the many aspects that Chinese games struggle with. I think in almost every tier I'm going to include a Chinese game to talk about, and for now, let's start with the Great Wall Edition, which is mostly just a reskin version of the first game, but with an assassin zombie and some small new things. I have a very limited amount of info on the Chinese games, as I've never played them before, so if I get something wrong or forget to mention something, I apologize, but please correct me when I do. Journey to the West Plants. One of the earliest Chinese PvZ games featured a bunch of plants we'd see in Plants vs. Zombies 2, but in the original game's art style. This includes Ghost Pepper, Laser Bean, Snapdragon, and Bok Choy. I absolutely love these versions of the characters, especially Ghost Pepper, who looks completely different, yet still wonderfully designed. Snapdragon also looks pretty different, but for the worst. Rich Werner. I'm not sure how many of the original creators of PvZ or artists I should include. Maybe I'll play some of the PvZ credits during this section to give everyone a bit of a spotlight. Obviously the core four, including George Fan, the creator, Todd Semple, the programmer, and Laura Shigihara, the composer, deserve all the credit in the world. But I specifically want to include Rich Werner, the original artist and animator of PvZ. I think the art style and the personality he gave to these characters has been so important for the series, and he's a personal idol of mine. And also, he does commissions sometimes, and that's how he got a zombie skibbity toilet in the PvZ art style. And his commissions are the only reason this is in the second tier, not the first one. Zomboni Almanac. Depending on the version of your game, the Zomboni Almanac entry might be different. In the PC version, it says, often mistaken for a zombie driving an ice machine, the Zomboni is a totally different life form more closely related to a space ogre than a zombie. And in any other version, it has some legal jargon for the real company the zombie gets its name from, the Zamboni. That's pretty funny. Also, on the topic of Zamboni, and something that would go on my own iceberg, in one of my old videos I made a quote-unquote joke asking why Zamboni has a big N on it and how that didn't make any sense, and successfully gaslit many angry commenters who were quick to inform me it's actually a Z. PvZ fans like that are exactly the reason why we need strictly informational icebergs out there. Anyways, zombie allergic reaction. In PvZ1, there's a super rare death animation for a zombie who's eating a walnut who gets all bloated due to his nut allergy. I've seen it claim this is a 1 in 10,000 chance, but I don't know exactly how rare it is for sure. Peggle crossover. This is one of the least surprising or interesting crossovers PvZ has had, considering PopCap owns both series, but in Peggle Knights there is a Plants vs. Zombies level. I would play a whole PvZ Peggle game if it existed, but sadly we just have this single level, based on the loading screen art. And I might as well mention that Zuma has a PvZ map too, before I forget. In Peggle 2, they released DLC to dress up the main characters and Garden Warfare themed skins to promote both games. Some are cute, some are cursed, but overall these are fun skins that probably very few people ever own because, again, they were paid skins for a Peggle game. Doomshroom can kill plants. If you decide to use a Doomshroom on a lily pad, a pumpkin, or a flower pot, they will die from the explosion. In the first PvZ game, this is the only way for a plant to kill another plant in the game. Friendly fire doesn't exist, Doomshroom is simply that powerful. Bloom and Doom. I'm sure a lot of games go through a similar process, but for Plants vs. Zombies, we have a goddamn list of 141 possible names other than Plants vs. Zombies. You can pause the video and look through them yourself, but some of my favorites include, "Hey you zombies, get off my lawn," "Photosynthesize or Die," "Torture Garden," and of course, "Jesus Lives." I have no clue how they're going to incorporate religion in these games, but still. The majority of the titles did have something to do with plants and or zombies. Zombies vs. Plants was even on the list. They truly thought of everything. Anyway, some of their favorites made it further than just a list, with Zombotany and Bloom and Doom having mock-ups for the title screen. Both are pretty good, but it seems like George Fan wanted the game to be called Lawn of the Dead. Sadly, for legal reasons, Lawn of the Dead couldn't be chosen. Obviously, I'm biased to like the name we got, but other than Zombotany, I don't think any of these other titles were fitting enough for the series, and I'm happy Lawn of the Dead couldn't work. Bloom and Doom Seed Co. As an homage to the unused title, the plant seed packets in PvZ are from the Bloom and Doom Seed Co. People love to theorize who was behind the company, if there was a big conspiracy in the PvZ series, but instead we got a very boring answer. In the official guide to eating your brains, it reveals that the seed packet company was founded in 1968 by someone named Barbara Johns. Why this was revealed, I have no idea, as there is no way we were ever going to find out anything more about her, or the creation of Bloom and Doom Seed Co. PvZ 2 end credits theme. I'm gonna be honest, I saw this was real, opened the PvZ 2 end credits for the first time, and heard a song I've never heard before in my entire life. Take a little listen.
Anytime is zombie time. I better plant plants so the dead can't eat my mind. Back and forth in zombie time. It feels super groovy to be uprooted in time. Do it again in zombie time. I know it's kinda wacko that a taco could be that good. Time after time, this is a zombie time.
Am I actually that uneducated, or is it commonly unknown that this game has a credits theme? And a pretty fun one, I really like it. PvZ 2 China. This is the only Chinese game that I've ever played, and I actually managed to get it on my phone. It is crazy that that is possible, but making a Chinese Apple ID, you can download and play the game yourself. This game has a lot of similarities to the international PvZ 2, but it continued getting new worlds with new plants tied to the worlds and a ton of other modes. There's even a sandbox mode where you can create your own level, down to choosing your own plants, the world, the zombie waves, and when they spawn. In the international version, plants can go up to level 20 by buying seed packets, where here they max out at level 5. And each level has a significant boost in some way. For example, the pea shooter at level 5 earns super peas that deal more damage with a visual difference. The costumes have gameplay differences too, they aren't just cosmetic like usual. A lot of the new levels we've seen in fan mods at this point. Like sometimes I forget the Sky City is from this game, not originating from Reflourished. Steam Ages appears in Reflourished too, and all the new plants and gimmicks from it originated here. And of course, there's too many new plants to cover as always, but I'll just show you my favorite, the Monkiwi. I'm so glad I unlocked this guy in my game and he straight up carried me through the entire adventure mode. Last thing to say about this game, there's a button that when translated said there was a hentai store, so of course I eagerly clicked it, only to find out that there's no goddamn hentai store at all! Though, to be fair, if there was, I definitely would have saved that for the bottom of our iceberg. Wild West. Put a little stank on that. Elderly Sunflower. In the trailer for the Wild West update in PvZ 2, we got, for who knows what reason, our first look at an elderly sunflower.
What?
Usually we get baby versions of the characters, but very rarely do we see the opposite, especially for a damn plant. PvZ movie. You may have heard that there was plans to make a PvZ movie, as far as it even getting cancelled, but as far as I'm aware, it never made it as far as people might think. Yes, coming up with a movie, having awesome concept art like this, means there was work put in. But like I said, I don't think that ever got to the point in actually making a movie that it could be considered quote-unquote cancelled. They were in talks with DreamWorks though, which in my opinion is the perfect choice, and some of these plant designs feel straight out of an old DreamWorks movie. They also pitched a movie to Warner Brothers, but again, it never went anywhere. I think there's a lot of potential in a PvZ film, but at this point, they potentially missed their chance. Oh well. PvZ cartoon. A lesser known fact is that there were pitches for a PvZ cartoon as well, and I'm honestly shocked it doesn't have animated shorts at the very least. I just made a video on mobile game TV shows, and PvZ fits right in alongside all those franchises. Anyways, this pitch was more recent than I expect, in 2019, right around Battle for Neighborville and PvZ 3's first soft launch. Rich Warner actually got to make the concept art, and from it we can see the series that focus on the plants. And I guess it would have been a prequel, considering there's a hilarious picture of young Crazy Dave that actually makes me laugh every time I look at it. Just like the movie, at this point, I doubt we'll get an official cartoon from this series. Garden Warfare Easter eggs. With the big map of the Garden Warfare games, of course there are tons of hidden Easter eggs and references to find within them. I won't cover literally all of them, but some of my favorites are the big fat meanie SpongeBob reference seen here, this Minecraft TNT poster, a Dark Souls campfire, and the most cursed of all, a human imp. This thing deserves to be way lower on the iceberg. Viewer discretion is advised, dude. Unused concepts. Through behind the scenes looks, like in the official PvZ art book, you can see a ton of fun unused designs and concepts for plants and zombies. Absolutely adore PvZ sketches and concepts. This art style and world just lend themselves to concept art perfectly, to the point where even the Garden Warfare characters in 2D somehow look like they belong to that dimension the entire time. This art book even includes some from the early Chinese games, which is where the famous Chomper Who Wants a Kiss comes from. Unused characters. Getting a bit more specific, here are some fully fleshed out plants and zombies that never got released. This beat design from PvZ 2 is pretty well known, and technically did get the chance to shine in both PvZ Adventures and PvZ Heroes, but to this day has never made it into PvZ 2. Flower Pot is going to be reworked for PvZ 2 as well, and it'd have to be pretty different considering there's no roof levels, but again that never happened. There's a Cleopatra zombie that we can assume would have worked like a dancing zombie, and I'm honestly surprised it never got added. They also had the barrel zombie from PvZ Adventures in here, and with most cut content, you can find both this guy and Cleopatra in PvZ mods and fan games nowadays. Garden Warfare 2 had these laser goat models that might have featured in a specific game mode, and this Giga Gargantuar can be playable as well. If you've ever been in a hacked lobby before, I'm willing to bet you've encountered a Giga Gargantuar player yourself. I know I have. The Dogwalker zombie nearly made it into the first game, and there are concepts for an iceberg lettuce, but it would have just been a catapulting variant, of course. PvZ concept art. Somewhat recently, we got to see early designs for every plant in the first game, and what I guess was the first art style before Rich Warner was involved. This includes some new plants, like the iceberg lettuce we just talked about, and this bee plant, which would have been the counter to balloon zombies before they changed it to cactus, I guess. There's also this cucumber and a few more we know nothing about. But there's concept art for all the other plants, like I said. And while I obviously prefer the art style we got, these plants look so fun and have a ton of personality still. There's some downgrades for sure, like Chomper looks really bad, and the pea shooter almost had a pea pod shaped head. But some of the mushrooms, like Ice Shroom for example, and the cactus, these are wonderful. I love that we have designs for every one of the classic plants, and I almost wish there was a way to have a version of the game with this art style too. Time Twister. The original final world of Plants vs. Zombies 2 was not modern day, but something called Time Twister, which we can assume would have just mashed all the previous content of the game into a final challenging world, and a lot of fan mods have now added a Time Twister world with that exact idea. The icon for this world was eventually reused for the Penny's Pursuit icon. Use Your Brains EDU. Thanks to the University of Florida, we got an educational version of PvZ2 called User Brains EDU. But being called educational feels like a stretch, considering it's really not that different from a normal PvZ game. I'm confused what necessarily even makes this educational, like strategizing or learning how to set up your defenses is no different here than in the real game. A poorly cut out Crazy Dave isn't a stand-in for a real teacher. I guess just having a demo version for classrooms was the goal, but considering there's very little information on it, and other than a couple videos it's almost completely lost media, it's safe to say I'll never know much more about this, and I don't think we really need to be honest. Euro Money Bag. The money bags, which typically have a $sign on them in PvZ1, actually switched to the euro symbol based on the country the player lived in. Apparently there was also one with the yen symbol and the pound sign for the UK according to the wiki. PvZ Endless Edition. Our next Chinese game is yet again based on PvZ1, but this time they added a hero mechanic. You continue to plant your defenses as normal, but can bring in a singular hero you control. They can move around the stage, they have multiple attacks and a health bar, and most are based on Journey to the West characters. The walnut ones are the best, especially Iron Man Nut, which is real, I promise you. This game also featured some new zombies and included content from the other Chinese games I already covered. Frostbite Caves. Fred the Sunflower. The comics introduced a sunflower known as Fred, and if you know anything about sunflowers, it's that every other one of them is female. Fred is the only male sunflower in the series, which is kinda cool, but also like, who cares? He's certainly no Scooter the Pea Shooter, that's for sure. Unused Battle for Neighborville characters. Battle for Neighborville is famous for removing variants from the game, and as far as I've been told, the reason for this was so that they could add brand new classes more regularly over the life of the game. But of course, BFN died so damn quickly, only one ever released, the Wizard. But more were planned, some of which being close to completion. First is Iceberg Lettuce, who has such an ugly design I still have trouble imagining this ever releasing. But since all the ice variants are gone, I guess it makes sense to add an ice plant. Super Bean is here too, and probably would have been similar to the boss version of this character. Berry Brigade is next, which is a much more fun and unique concept. You control 4 berries acting as one unit, and each ability would be used by one of the berries. I love the theme and designs here, it's too bad it never got finished. Lastly, there is a playable gnome in the files. Maybe this was for a new game mode rather than part of the zombie team, I'm not too sure on that. Additionally, there are other names in the files, like for a toxic zombie, a gargantuar, or a cabbage character. But since there's so little we know about them, and they were only planned or conceptualized anyways, there's not much to discuss about them. Gravedigger. Rather than having the scientist be the healer in Garden Warfare, the Gravedigger was planned as a playable character instead. It would have had a grave for a shield, and spawn NPC zombies as an ability. I love the personality he has in these sketches, but apparently they had trouble giving him variants, and therefore he was scrapped in favor of the scientist. The coolest part about all this is that they put his model in a vat on the Z-Tech factory map. I've seen that zombie so many times and never knew the history behind him. I don't want to make separate sections for all the cut classes, so very quickly, there are concepts for a Zomboni driver, a trash man with imp minions, a Yeti, and the disco zombie. I know he was a boss, but I was always surprised he wasn't playable. I would have never expected the Zomboni driver to be a character though, that's a choice. Deadplants.exe. This is apparently the most popular PvZ creepypasta out there, which is basically just a spooky story if you're unfamiliar. Every time I've seen this show up in an iceberg, the person never bothers to explain what happens in the creepypasta, so I'm actually going to explain this one, because if you're like me, you've never heard about it before. The story goes that some bored guy wanted to try Plants vs. Zombies, but instead of just buying it, he found a torrent and it took all day to download. But it wasn't called PvZ.exe or anything like that, no. It was called Deadplants.exe. For some reason, he played the damn thing anyways, and notes how the music sounds off-key, higher than usual, which is strange because the story starts off by him saying that he'd never played the game before. This is some excellent storytelling otherwise, with just a tiny little plot hole, I suppose. Anyways, the game seemed harder than usual too, because this guy is a PvZ expert as we've established, and when he got to the night levels, the graves had names of... Holy shit, I can't believe this. Names of dead celebrities on them. Like Amy Winehouse, he explains. This is a great creepypasta so far, I'm spooked. Instead of fighting Zomboss, the game shows text saying, "Why did you do this to us?" And he wonders what that meant. But then the game loops, and the lawn mirrors itself, and a pea shooter with dark, soulless eyes, with old and diseased pea shooting out of it appears. The game slowly darkens as his plants all die to these zombified pea shooters, and as he gets a game over screen, he hears a loud, distorted screaming noise that, according to him, almost popped his freaking ears. The game refuses to work after that, and he vows to never torrent a game ever again. But we're left with the most horrifying revelation of all. This could be a one-sentence horror story. I hope that someday the plants in our neighborhood will stop dying. And that, my friends, is deadplants.exe, one of the most cliche creepypastas I've ever read, and now I understand why no one ever goes into detail about it. Harvey Flexcaster. Crazy Dave mentions his old friend in level 4 or 5 of the original PvZ. Never again has he been brought up, and I absolutely prefer it that way. PvZ fans are the type of people to demand a whole backstory for this one-off joke. Fans are so deranged, I've seen people theorize that Crazy Dave's real name is Harvey Flexcaster, when in reality, never mentioning this character with an insanely specific name ever again is the only thing that makes it funny in the first place. Limbo Page. In the first game, there's a hidden page of data featuring 20 playable minigames, most of which being variations similar to the actual minigames, like this walnut art challenge. And then the bottom row is just mostly survival mode stuff. There is one special option though, the ice level. People thought it was unfinished, that something was supposed to happen after you jump into it. And for a long time there's speculation on what it could be and how players could find a playable version, until finally George Fan put the rumors to rest. Turns out this was an April Fool's joke for the people working on the game, and it's literally just a bunch of frozen, completely still zombies out in the tundra, so no more mystery there. Most icebergs out there cover this limbo page because it was unofficially playable for the longest time, but now in PvZ Replanted, they added all these as bonus levels. And now we know why all these were never actually playable before, because they're all incredibly easy and boring. Neon Mixtape Tour Tracks. I can't play any of this music for you, but trust you when I say PvZ 2 has placeholder music for the Neon Mixtape Tour that were actually licensed tracks. After Highway to the Danger Zone playing in Garden Warfare 2, this isn't as crazy, but still a fun piece of trivia I never knew before. Pinball. There's an amazing virtual pinball machine themed around, you guessed it, Plants vs. Zombies, specifically the first game, and the layout is actually so dang cool. That looming Zomboss robot in the background really brings the whole thing together. Surprisingly, I found a way to play this thing, and I literally spent the next 2 hours addicted to trying to get new high scores. But man, they have packed this thing with so many references and fun minigames. I gotta go a little more in depth here just to show you. Zombies can actually spawn into the game in waves, and you can hit them with your P-ball to knock them out. But you can also buy plants. If you look at the icons of each lane, there's a squash, potato mine, and walnut to collect. And they act exactly how you expect, helping to save your score when the zombies attack. Crazy Dave can drive onto the machine, and if you open up his trunk, there are upgrades to buy. This thing is complex. You can take control of a melon pult for some extra points, or pull off a multi-ball shot by getting into a very difficult hole in this machine. Lastly, if you open up Zomboss's mouth, you can activate one of 5 minigames. One is a simple wave of 18 zombies, there's a digger zombie and football zombie round that are pretty similar, and the best one, Walnut Bowling, a survival minigame where you have to defend yourself from zombies and keep at least 2 walnuts going until the timer ends. Like I said, there's a lot to this board. With seemingly a Zomboss fight, I'm not good enough to get to, but I could not imagine a better PvZ-themed pinball machine, and I loved every second of playing it. Buckethead Blood. It's a common misconception that the red streaks on the Buckethead's, bucket is blood. But obviously, being a kid's game, this is paint. Conveniently red, might I add. His entire design used to be based around a painter covered in red paint all over, but he was simplified down to just the bucket. Adding to the list of downgrades we've seen from Plants vs. Zombies 3, they've removed the paint entirely from the Buckethead's design now, because of course they did. Inner workings of a pea shooter. This is a pretty iconic image of the mechanical insides of a PvZ-2 pea shooter. I really couldn't find a lot of info on it. People claim it's official, but I'm not sure where it actually came from. I think the answer is it was drawn by someone at PopCaf, but isn't actually what the inside of a pea shooter looks like. We have concept art contradicting this, showing how the peas come out through the stem one at a time. Neither make any sense, but are cool pieces of art regardless. PvZ Online. The next Chinese game to cover takes the art style of PvZ2 and adds a lot more to do. First, there's new plants and zombies. Not to go too in-depth, but some of the best new ones come from the unique world EC Dragon Palace, as they're all undersea plants, and garlic for some reason. But I think the international game should try making more undersea plants. There's a lot of potential there. The zombies from this world are pretty cool too, but my favorites in this game are the new mechs we got in Far Future. Mechanical Wolf Zombie goes hard. Anyways, this game has a normal adventure mode and a turn-based RPG mode, which seems to be what it's most famous for, and the most out there concept we've seen from China so far. If you'd like to know more about any of these Chinese games, I recommend this video by Sylvia YSI. They even managed to get this game working, and that is impressive. Lost City. PvZ the board game. There is a cancelled board game themed around the series, where each player would defend their row by using plant cards and rolling the dice to determine the action of the oncoming zombies. Potentially, you just had to outlive your friends to win the game? I'm not too sure. But this looks pretty bad, I won't lie, and it's probably for the best it wasn't released. PvZ Risk. However, there are PvZ-themed board games out there, the best which being PvZ Risk. This is amazing for a few reasons. One, you could play Risk on a brain-shaped map with fun little game pieces of a pea shooter, 3-peater, a zombie, and 3 zombies. And two, it's a double-sided board featuring a tower defense board game exactly like the one we just covered, but better. I'm guessing one player is the zombie and the other has to defend the line against them. The cards from this game look really fun too. I always thought this Risk version was dumb, but looking into it, I'm impressed. PvZ Monopoly. And our last board game is a Monopoly edition. There's weirdly very little info on this thing, but I found a pretty good video of someone who has it. All the locations just have PNGs of PvZ2 plants and zombies. It's as basic as can be, apart from the money and the game pieces. Really cool little sculpts of the plants and zombies, although sadly they aren't really 3D like I would have hoped. Oh well. Jeff the Zombie. This is a fan-made character that combines all the possible zombie armor types into one ultimate zombie. Theoretically unstoppable with 4 arms. There's a reason we've never seen a zombie do this in the official game. It's too OP. Ultimate Battle. This song was originally intended for another game PvZ's composer Laura Shigihara was creating. It's insane to think this was not only made for PvZ because it fits perfectly alongside the other songs, but is now so iconic that I genuinely can't imagine the PvZ series without this music. Listen to this part. That's Plants vs. Zombies! You can't convince me otherwise. Garden Warfare Cut Variants. The art of these variant concepts are so awesome that I'd like to just include a bunch of them in a slideshow here. I don't know the names of them, I don't know what they would do in game, but there are a lot. Just looking at the Chomper for example. They had a ton of random ideas thrown at the wall to see what stuck, one of which being the Shark Chomper. Chomper actually has the most, I don't really know why. Anyways, I love this art, that is all. The Sims crossover. Since EA owns both series, some PvZ items were added to the game, and they could actually interact with stuff too. The pea shooter could shoot zombies and the sunflower dropped sun. These endgame models are pretty bland, but it's still cool this exists. Team Fortress 2 crossover. You can get a bucket and cone hat in Team Fortress 2, which is cool. While looking this up, I found a guide on how to LARP a Plants vs. Zombies game, and how each player has to act to fit the role of the zombie they're playing. I cannot believe any group of people out there have actually done this. I simply can't believe it. Jay and Silent Bob. There's a series of animated shorts for PvZ2 featuring Jay and Silent Bob, and I generally don't understand why. Nothing like this has ever happened before in the series, and out of any possible crossover, having these two non-PG characters as the main characters of these shorts just makes no sense. I always talk about how there's no humans in PvZ other than Crazy Dave, but I guess Jay and Silent Bob have proven me wrong, haven't they? Plants vs. Zombies merchandise. With any series, there's a ton of merch out there, and so many bootlegs sometimes it's hard to know which is and isn't official. Like this Chomper plush I own. It's the only PvZ merch I have, and obviously Chomper doesn't normally have eyes. I also own these Chinese PvZ card packs, which I plan to open on the channel at some point, and I believe these are officially licensed. There's Funko Pops that look horrible, there's U2's figures and plushies that are kinda okay, there's Connect's construction sets that are pretty cool, and there's t-shirts and hats and a bunch of regular stuff you expect when it comes to merch. But unlike most series, PvZ doesn't really have fun merch, so I'm kinda done talking about it. Wake me up when they sell something fun for once. PVZ logos. For a long time, each logo in the Plants vs. Zombies series had a unique icon for the versus symbol that ties to the theme of each game. As very clearly shown in this tweet from Hey I'm Jay, it started as a grave, then a license plate for PVZ2, then a cartoon cloud for heroes, became a dog tag for the shooter games, and so on. Sadly, whoever the graphic designer is for the newest logos in the series didn't get the memo, and apparently was never taught how to be good at graphic design, because holy shit, I hate Replanted and Evolved's logos with a passion. Project Hot Tub. An action-adventure single-player game with the codename Project Hot Tub was cancelled. And from the little information we have about the game, you'd seemingly play as some kid with plant sidekicks to help you fight zombies. I'm pretty sure there's some early builds and footage out there too, but I am no expert on this cancelled game, so I'd recommend looking into it yourselves. I have no idea if this would have been a good game or not, but some of the concept art is pretty dang awesome. PVZ All-Stars. This is the next Chinese game we're covering, which takes the turn-based mode from PvZ Online and makes it the whole gimmick. You create a team of plants and send them to fight waves of zombies. But by far the coolest and most interesting aspect of this game is the plant evolution lines. Pretty much every plant has two counterparts, and similar to a Pokemon game, as you upgrade it, they evolve, from a baby to a beefcake. Since this is such an awesome idea, and I know it makes me excited just to get to talk about it, I want to cover a good amount of these, from actually good designs to whatever this Peter Griffin peach is supposed to be. Sunflower is an obvious one, since we already had a twin sunflower, now they're triplets. Pushroom, Scary Shroom, and Fume Shroom need no design changes, they were already the complete family. Cattail becomes a dogtail, then a foxtail. Fatbeat has two siblings that look adopted to me. Shadow Shroom puts on a hat. Bonk Choy grows a mustache, and by far the best line in the game goes to Jalapeno, no doubt. I like some of the brand new characters too, like all these Venus flytrap plants are new, and the radishes were fun before the ginseng came along, and we could be here all day covering the rest, but I've shown you plenty by now. Far, 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 future, future, future. Stop Zombie Mouth. This was a PSA by the American Dental Association that mostly culminated in this weird music video I had playing on screen. I would have thought this would focus on plants and or zombies, but instead these weird little freaks called the Putrid Posse are here the whole time, with a couple scenes here and there featuring PvZ stuff. There were also trading cards and posters, I guess? Let me know if this is something you saw as a kid. I personally never heard of it before. Breaking Bad. The Zomboss Down trailer for Garden Warfare opens with a reference to the final scene in Breaking Bad. Why? I have no idea. The rest of the trailer is Wild West theme and makes zero sense, but it is. Little Big Planet. There are PvZ skins for the characters in Little Big Planet 3, with some very odd choices. The Sunflower becomes a dog, there's regular Crazy Dave and Baby Crazy Dave, and the Balloon Zombie. Alright, this is cursed. I hate this now, I'm moving on. World of Warcraft. In a quest called Peace Bloom vs. Ghouls, you can basically play out a PvZ level with some of the crazy looking plants in the game. It's pretty in depth, I'm kinda surprised. You could earn the Sunflower item for doing this, voiced by none other than PvZ's composer Laura Shigihara.
There's a zombie on your lawn.
That's easily the best part. Slot machines. There are actual Plants vs. Zombies themed slot machines out there, and somehow, whoever made these missed the biggest opportunity in the world to make it themed around the slot machine minigame. What a massive blunder. Anyways, we all love gambling, and I'm glad PvZ is promoting and supporting our addictions as they should be. Plants vs. Zombies ads. As with all mobile game series, Plants vs. Zombies has had its fair share of strange ads, but some of them started even before the mobile game port existed. Take these two for example, with a horrifyingly beautiful princess asking for brains now, my lord. And what is this, a before and after picture? Are these bazongas on the same woman? They clearly know their audience, huh? Since then, we've gotten some commercials, including one in China for the Super Chomper promoting milk. There's the awful PvZ Replanted streamer ads we've seen more recently.
They're all I need. You plant them, they wait for their moment, super zen. You can learn a lot from a potato, you know. And I didn't fucking ask.
And now for PvZ 3, they're using Angry Birds gameplay and Tetris to promote it for, well, who knows why. That's just mobile game advertising in a nutshell, honestly. There's tons of PvZ ads out there, including a specific one I'll be covering further down the iceberg, but these are the ones I felt deserved to be included. And you can let me know if you think there's any you think I haven't seen before, because I love finding new ones. Giga Football Zombie. For some reason, in the Flash version of Plants vs. Zombies, a demo that ends after the second chapter, there's a brand new unique zombie type called the Giga Football Zombie. With an edgy black uniform, it has just as much health as a Gargantuar. So basically, a fast version that can be stalled by defensive plants, but is arguably way more scary. There's also a Giga Gargantuar in the Survival Endless mode who is high out of his goddamn mind, but way more commonly well known. Garden Warfare crossover cosmetics. There were quite a few cool crossover cosmetics in Garden Warfare, with the most well-known ones featuring the hero costumes from PvZ Heroes, which is the coolest shit in the world. But as a pre-order bonus for PlayStation 3, the first Garden Warfare game had Sony characters like Sly Cooper, Ratchet, and Fat Princess. I've never seen these before, and I'm jealous of whoever owns these. The Sundew Tangler. I doubt many people have ever used the Sundew Tangler, a semi-new plant in PvZ2 that, at a glance, sucks fat ass. It grabs zombies and drains sun from them, but barely deals damage or earns enough sun to be worth using. And the design is horrible, as you may have already noticed. But because I'm one of the few people out there who have actually used this plant in my Only Bad Plants Challenge video, I was forced to discover the many hidden talents of the Sundew Tangler. For example, she can't be killed. She's effectively invincible, which has a lot of smaller benefits you might not initially realize. Like, she can't be frozen, that's simple. She also can't be grabbed by fisherman zombies, and that means she even protects the plants behind her. But funniest of all, she prevents zombies from pushing her off screen, meaning any plant in front of her will stall pushing zombies forever. I can't imagine these secret abilities were intended, there's just no way. But before we move on, I have one final ability to share. By leveling her up, she becomes stronger and kills zombies faster, so fast that she can no longer earn any sun. You can permanently alter and sort of ruin the entire point of the Sundew Tangler. So that's a PSA to never buy your seed packets for you. Tiny birds. The Chomp Thing class in Garden Warfare 2 is seemingly always surrounded by a horde of bugs, which makes sense, and so I doubt many people have given it a second thought. But look real close, and it becomes obvious these are tiny little birds, not bugs. Realistically, they just found this model or animation of a bird and figured it got the job done. And honestly, 99% of people who have ever looked at Chomp Thing absolutely had no idea, so if this was their assumption, they were correct. Garden Warfare 3Z Arena. There's actually an amusement park ride at Carowinds based around Garden Warfare. It's a little lame to me, you just mount this little seat that moves you around a screen, and you shoot at stuff with this little gun. When I heard there was a Garden Warfare ride, I was excited to see it, and this could not be more disappointing, dude. PvZ Pinion Adventure. Moving to our next Chinese game, PvZ Pinion Adventure was an educational game to teach the player Chinese. As you get questions correct, it triggers the plants to attack the zombies. That's the gameplay. And it's where the iconic image of Crazy Dave demanding you learn Chinese comes from. All the images we have from this game are so dang strange, but I love them. And I love that these are technically official. Dork Ages. The Zombie Wars. Imitator references them in his PvZ1 Almanac description. I remember the Zombie Wars back in '76, says Imitator in a raspy old man's voice. Back then, we didn't have all these fancy pea shooters and jalapenos. All we had was guts and a spoon. As far as I know, that's the only zombie war mentioned, but let me know if it's ever brought up again. Also, Imitator's Almanac entry is secret. You have to click the little icon in the corner to see it. That's how you know this is important. The Science Fair. In a newspaper heading found in Garden Warfare 2, we see the catalyst of the entire series. All the lore from these games stem from this damn science fair. Apparently, little Davey takes the prize, and Zomboss cries. First off, this is an incredible image. Young Crazy Dave is cursed, and crying Zomboss needs to be a meme pronto. But secondly, I think we can infer that Dave won the fair thanks to the baby pea shooter he's holding. In theory, this is where the rivalry began, and Dave winning partly caused the zombie apocalypse Zomboss creates. Though, to be fair, why is Zomboss just already a zombie? Has that ever been explained? Battles. Originally, the arena mode in PvZ2 was called Battles with a Z, which seemed pretty fitting, but a brand with that name was going to sue EA for using it, and so they changed it to a more simple arena mode. Gnomes. In the Garden Warfare series, gnomes started out as a big mystery. You could find collectible gnomes, and eventually, they basically became the ultimate antagonists of those games. No matter who you play as, plants or zombies, your common enemy is the gnome army. King Nomus himself is a pretty mysterious character, presumably the leader of the gnomes, but unless we ever get more Garden Warfare games, we'll probably never fight any gnomes in the series ever again, since the mainline and mobile games almost never reference gnomes at all, and you certainly never fight any. I guess that's why I put this so low on the iceberg. I'm just wondering what the golden gnomes are, and why they're non-existent in most of the series, yet so important in Garden Warfare 2. Cancelled PvZ games. We've already covered Project Hot Tub, but there are more cancelled games out there, some of which we know a lot about, and some we barely know anything. I feel like the first version of Plants vs. Zombies 3 should count for this, as it was a completely different game with a new art style, a vertical orientation, and clearly quite a bit of work put into it. This is a game that was so close to existing it was soft launched in other countries. People played this game, and now is gone forever. They released ads for a fantasy, potentially RPG-based PvZ game, seemingly to gauge interest for it. The images are kinda cool I guess, but no real gameplay has been shown as far as I'm aware. Talking Zombitar looks like it was much further along and would have been a Talking Tom clone. I wonder why they never released it, when there was a trailer for it and everything. Garden Warfare Zomboss. At one point, Zomboss was planned to have an actual boss fight, and it would have used the big robot model they made for the trailer. Obviously, this never happened, and funny enough, they plan to make him a boss in the second game too, and then cut him there as well. The boss of PvZ never got to actually be a boss in either of these games. Poor guy. Farm World. We have concept art of a farm area that feels like it could have worked for a random PvZ2 update, but no, apparently this is part of their original idea for the sequel, a game about traveling to different locations and facing off against themed zombies using, in this case, some farm-themed plants. I'm glad they switched to a time travel game because they've now tried this road trip thing in PvZ Adventures and PvZ 3. There's also a French world concept, and again, I'm not sure this would have appeared in the time travel version or this road trip one. Either could probably work. Magnet Plant. For some reason, in the spin-off Plants vs. Zombies Adventures, they brought back the magnet shroom, but plant washed them. I guess just because mushrooms weren't a thing in this game, night levels never happened, but they still wanted Magnet Shroom's ability. So for this one game, Magnet Shroom became a plant instead. George Fan fired? It's a common misconception, one that I accidentally spread the word about, that George Fan was fired by EA before PvZ 2 came out. I don't know if we know everything about what happened, so I will stick to strictly what we do know. George Fan was laid off, which is not the same as being fired, and he had no interest in making a sequel to Plants vs. Zombies. I don't know if the two are related, I don't know why he was laid off, and the only reason I'm including this is to clear that up. Slingshot Games. If you keep up with Plants vs. Zombies 2 at all, you might have seen some of the new plants they've been adding, and for a while they were pretty bad, but not that big of a deal. But now, with plants like Hammerroot or the Sakura tree, we've truly reached a new low. Not only is the character design awful now, but the animations are stiff and cheap, and worst of all, the new plants are balanced horribly. I mean, trying to add new plants incentivizes players to spend money to use, you gotta make them interesting, right? But these plants get added so frequently, it wouldn't be possible to balance everything. Anyways, the point of adding this to the iceberg is just to show that PvZ 2 is a dying game with terrible new planets constantly added that actually make the game worse. Oh yeah, and apparently at one point people tried logging in only to lose all their currencies and seed packets. How does that even happen? Infinity Time Dev Room. In the starting area of Infinity Time, one of the many game modes in Garden Warfare 2, you can walk through a crack in the wall and find the names of all the developers etched into it. Dev rooms are some of the cool secrets to discover in games, and I have to imagine finding this one for yourself, since it's very easy to do, would have been incredible. World 6. All of this information I'm including I learned from the series of videos by Retrobox, and I recommend watching them if you'd like to know more. But basically, through using cheats in the original game, you can access quote-unquote hidden levels in the game, starting at 6-1. This level is exactly like the 9th roof level, but on the day theme, so it's easier. And if you move to 6-2, it's the same thing. You can keep going further past 6-10, but again, it will all play out exactly the same. That is, until 6-49, which adds a single pea shooter zombie. And then every level after that is exactly the same again. That is the strangest thing in the world. So that seemed like a dead end, but thanks to a beta build of the game we have access to, we can see the real World 6, or at least what it was planned to be, a night level with elevation. Certainly makes sense, and maybe they would have changed where the elevation was in each level of World 6 or something. It seems like the scrapped dog walker zombie would have even made its debut here. The best hidden level is in the DS version, where waves of invisible zombies who insta-kill plants spawn in. It is really interesting, but I'll stop stealing Retrobox's content now. Like I said, go watch the video if this is something you want to see more of. PVZ mini programs. If you aren't aware, a lot of Chinese mobile games are played on browsers or on a larger app you can find these games on. I hate to use this as an example, but in the simplest terms, kind of like Roblox. And so there's a ton of PVZ experiences called mini programs you can find. So many we know so very little about. The damn PVZ Wiki, the place that compiles information about stuff just like this, gives very short rundowns for some of these titles and either includes a couple photos, a bunch of crazy low quality images, or just straight up no visuals at all. The wiki lists around 40 to 50 of these mini programs, most of which aren't even worth talking about, so let's not waste your time or my time here. I'll just give a quick example of one with a little info so you can see what I mean. PVZ2 Guard is a vertical game where the plants face away from you to shoot at the zombies. You can merge them to upgrade them, and that is the whole gameplay loop. Merging your plants for hours on end as waves of zombies walk towards them. There are some strange plant upgrades, but other than that, it's not only boring, but looks like shit. And that is the experience of looking into all of these mini programs. So, like I said, let's leave it at that. I'll include a few of them in the last Iceberg tiers, but I'm only including the ones worth including. Neon Mixtape Tour. Left 4 Dead 2. You can find a message on the wall that says, "Looking for an M60? Come see me, Crazy Dave." It's as simple as you could possibly get for a PVZ reference, but it's a zombie game, so they had to. Squirrel Dave. This is Squirrel Dave. That is all. IRL Crazy Dave. Apparently the character is based on a real person by the name of Dave Rorrell. He worked at PopCap, had scruffy hair, a cluttered car, and often wore sandals, all inspiring the look of the character. There's pictures of him dressing as the character now, which is incredible. Evil Dave. In the Chinese version of PVZ2, Dave has an evil twin brother named Evil Dave. They've got some cruel parents, dude. His design is so funny though. He's not overly evil, other than his expression, he's pretty normal. But clearly this is the cooler Dave. Wobby Wobbo by Crazy. I was gonna explain this one, but I'll probably just let it play and you can form your own opinions on it. I never saw this trailer before, and my introduction to Hip Hop Crazy Dave was when someone made a remix of my Learn Chinese bit in my first PVZ video.
Hey you. Yeah, you. Learn Chinese.
Amazing stuff right there. Bill Nye. Check out this clip.
Survival of the fittest. Species better adapted to their environment live on, while others perish. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2.
He goes on to explain the game a little more for this Origin Access ad. But anyways, I'm also just including this because it's funny hearing Bill Nye the Science Guy talk casually about Garden Warfare 2. PVZ Heroes Hidden Walnut. There's a secret walnut you can find in PVZ Heroes that I'm willing to bet even hardcore fans of the game have never seen. All you have to do is pull down with your finger while editing a deck, and you can see the top of his head poke out. This is as much of him as I could reveal. I guess I'll never get to know what the rest of him looks like. What a tease. Lottery tickets. There are multiple Plants vs. Zombies themed lottery tickets you could buy. Imagine winning $20,000 from this. I even found an Idaho lottery ad with only 500 views with a guy in a zombie costume eating a lottery ticket and the woman next to him giving an Oscar-worthy performance. I was thinking about how surprising it is that more franchises don't do lottery ticket promotions, but I suppose it's not the best look for your brand, is it? PVZ1 house in Garden Warfare 2. I've seen this house 100 times and never put 2 and 2 together, but clearly this house, with a checkered lawn, is a reference to the player's house from the original game. That's amazing. You die in Plants vs. Zombies 1. PVZ 1 can end in one of two ways. You lose a level and you die, or you make it to the end of the game and even beat Zomboss. But during your credit scene's dance party, while Sunflower has you distracted, a single zombie literally sneaks into your house, eats your brains during the music video, and everyone else just continues on like nothing ever happened. You witness your death in the Zombies on Your Lawn video, and now that I've realized this, I'll never hear this song the same ever again. This is obviously a fan theory, by the way, but it's easily the best fan theory I've heard. In Far Future Day 8, Zomboss even claims your brains were collected ages ago, and in my headcanon, he's referring to the ending of Plants vs. Zombies 1. Chompzilla Monkey? In the sprite sheets for Chompzilla and PvZ Heroes, you can find a picture of a monkey. A pretty cute monkey, too. From now on, just know every time you play Chompzilla, there is a hidden monkey in there. Zombie children. There are concepts for zombie kids that we've never seen actually appear in any games, because that would lead to some pretty dark implications about how they died. So obviously zombie kids have never appeared in any games. And no, the imps are not children. All the evidence you need for that is that one human imp Easter egg we talked about earlier in the Iceberg. That is a man right there. PvZ2 World. This is one of the mini programs that has some substance to it. This, like almost every other Chinese game, has the merging mechanic we know and love, but centers it around a tower defense game like Balloons, for example. The zombies follow a path and you place plants around it to keep the zombies at bay. Other than Plants vs. Zombies Adventures, I don't think we've had a more traditional tower defense game in the series before. And again, that's pretty much the only reason why this game is worth talking about. Jurassic Marsh. Dying Light reference. There's a pretty hidden Easter egg in the game Dying Light that forces you to climb among some rocks and click on a random flower. Once you do, you're dropped into a pretty funny bare bones version of PvZ. It's all set up for you so you can kinda just watch, or join in on the fight. The plan consists of flowers, mushrooms, and a floating watermelon, and they even put cones on the zombies. The best part is they added digger zombies, with only their construction heads poking out of the ground. As a zombie game, it feels like you must reference PvZ in some way, and they went all out here. Marmot Salesman. Only appearing in the credits in the DS version of Plants vs. Zombies, someone by the name of David P. Wycliffe was credited as a Marmot Salesman. He also appears in the credits of Octageddon, a game made by George Fan, the creator of PvZ, so potentially he handled the marmots in the creation of that game as well. I will never reveal my personal dealer to the public, so don't ask. Team Swap Glitch. I don't plan to include many glitches on this iceberg, most I just don't find that interesting, but this is the kind of shit I love. Hello, this is Editor Jake, and you can tell it's me because my voice is different, and also I'm cooler and hotter and never get anything wrong. I decided to actually try the glitch for myself and pulled it off, but it's genuinely really difficult. Basically, you drop in as a zombie, talk to the goat at Zomburger, and press escape at the same time. Then respawn once you're allowed. Then find the zombie you want, hold the right key down, select switch teams, and immediately press enter just after. Then span through the dialogue, wait for the goat to run out of time, and you're now a zombie on the plants team. Not only does this mean you can shoot zombies now, but they will hunt you down. So I head over to my fellow plants for some assistance. I almost died, so I went over to plant a sunflower, which did work and even healed me. I messed around for a little longer, joining a Torchwood boss like we were old friends, before deciding I needed to try out a plant too, and there was only one thing I wanted in life: eat a chomper as a chomper. But man, I just couldn't do it. You have to be so precise, and I tried for like an hour and it always failed to work. Sometimes it would soft lock my game, and loading back in, I'd start as a chomper on the zombie side, and then the game would force me to swap sides. I got so close. And then, when I was just ready to be done, I spawned in as a chomper. And the moment of truth, that zombie is my friend. I was officially a chomper on the zombie team, and trying to eat weeds, I noticed that the animations didn't work quite right. Plants were never meant to be eaten. My weeds didn't affect them either. I spent like a half an hour looking for a chomper to spawn in to no avail, so I started up a round of defending the flag, as a zombie of course, and took out waves of pichers until I noticed it didn't even allow me to eat the plant heroes, only the stupid weeds. So I knew my dream had been squandered, and I gave up trying to even find a chomper. But clearly there are a lot of unique and strange interactions that can happen here, so let me know if there's anything cool to do with this glitch. I refuse to spend any more of my afternoon attempting to get it to work a third time. PvZ Last Stand. I found a trailer from Sega for their arcade machine version of Plants vs. Zombies, and they kinda went all out on this trailer. I can't believe it's the first time I've seen this. I've also never seen it in an arcade, so I don't know exactly how the game is played, but there's this big old pea shooter head you use to aim at the different zombies, making this a first-person version of one of the tower defense games. That's pretty awesome. The graphics aren't the best, but they're really charming, and I will never get over how fun it is to have the big pea shooter head as a controller. I gotta find one of these somewhere and play this game myself. Crazy Dave hates cats? In the loading screen text in Garden Warfare, they outed Crazy Dave as a cat hater. I don't know how that's possible, but I guess Crazy Dave is a bigot. I wasn't going to include the fact since it's kind of boring, but it might explain an aspect of Garden Warfare 2 that's never made much sense to me. The robots you control in the Infinity Time mode are a dinosaur for the plants and a cat for the zombie. I still don't really get the dinosaur inclusion, but the cat was especially a strange choice to me before, but tied to Crazy Dave's hatred for cats, now it makes perfect sense, and it's pretty cool if that was intentional. Rotten Red. PopCap had a Make-A-Wish program and invited a kid to their studios as an honorary employee for the day, even having him design his own plant for fun. I believe the intentions were pure, but without asking, the developers of the Chinese version of PvZ2 created Rotten Red, put him in the game for a second, and then removed it after PopCap had to scold them. Rotten Red was replaced by a dual pistol pine cone and will never be heard from again. Bungee Zombie. The original idea for this guy was to have him drop down using his intestines rather than a rope. It makes sense, but that's way too graphic for this game. Garden Warfare iPad port. There's footage out there, albeit pretty low quality footage, that shows there are plans to bring Garden Warfare to mobile devices, or at least the iPad. It probably wouldn't have worked amazingly, but there's plenty of shooter games on mobile, so it could have worked. And since a lot of PvZ's audience comes from mobile, it would have made a lot of sense to cater to that audience. When I was a kid, I didn't have a console to play this game on, and I would have absolutely paid for a mobile version if it existed. Breaking Survival Endless. There is no chance I will ever reach this myself, but I'm being told that if you make it through 107,374,183 flags, for over 100 million flags after, only flag zombies will spawn. Then, at 214,748,364 flags, survival basically starts over, and 2 rounds later it'll switch to negative numbers, because for some reason that's a limit before an integer overflow. How do we even know this? Knowledge like this was never meant to be discovered. Doubledman freaking kills himself! Speaking of integer overflows, there's a really fun example in PvZ Heroes. From this Reddit post, we can see some dedicated players get a doublemint to over 1.9 billion attack, and the next time he doubles, he just combusts. Yet another piece of PvZ trivia no human was ever meant to know. Plant jobs. Based on some of the almanac entries, such as Fume Shroom, it kind of implies that this is a job for the plants, that they're being hired to be here. I guess you could theorize who's paying them, who's in charge if not Crazy Dave, or you could just accept the fact that the almanac entries aren't meant to be taken so seriously. But that's no fun, is it? PvZ Magic Book. This was a Chinese AR game, making use of the camera on your mobile device to put crappy 3D models of PvZ characters into the real world, or make the images and books come to life. But you had to own the tie-in PvZ books to play the game. Then you just used the app to make the picture book more fun. Hey, at least I can grasp the concept of this Chinese game. Usually these things are way too weird and convoluted for me to even properly explain. Big Wave Beach. Sergeant Peel. There is a straight-up pedophile in Battle for Neighborville, and it's a Citron NPC named Sergeant Peel. In a now-removed line from the game, he said, and I quote, "Age is just a number, Sprout. Age is not just a number, Peel. And I'm not letting the developers censor you. The world needs to know who you really are, Sprout." I used to live a good life is a cut line from Zombies on Your Lawn, spoken by one of the zombies, which is a little morbid in and of itself, but sadly it gets worse. The Bungee Zombie was meant to say this, implying this poor guy died a horrific death and is now unhappy as a zombie. This is a kid's game. Let's not depress everyone and create a phobia of bungee jumping for all of our audience. Hard Nut. A walnut variant from PvZ Adventures had this almanac description. "I don't whistle at the sunflowers like some other plants," he says gruffly, scratching his belly against a nearby post. "It's disrespectful and objectifying. Also, I can't whistle. Alright, buddy, you had me until you said you can't whistle. You wish you could objectify women. I'm on to you. Also, why do you have to scratch his belly in the middle there? What the hell is wrong with you? Sexy Action Cool. Did you know this was PopCap's former name? Yes, this is real. Before PopCap, they were called Sexy Action Cool. That's not even a name, that's just some guy's 3 favorite adjectives. And by some guy, I mean me. Their first game, Foxy Poker, was a strip poker game, hence the sexy name, I guess. But this led to the game engine for the first PvZ game to be called Sexy Cash. Again, this is real. You can't make this shit up. Zomba's foot fetish? Look, I hate I'm even including this, but when you get to the depths of the iceberg, it's time to get depraved. Too many times for this to be considered a coincidence, Zomboss has referenced feet and foot rubs, with this awful comic panel that haunts me every time I close my eyes. This goddamn expression on his face is worse than the damn stink lines. I'm sure there's more evidence for this out there, but for once, please do not send me any, I don't want to know. Deadbeard X Rose. In Captain Deadbeard's pirate ship area in Garden Warfare 2, you can find his bed, and tucked into the covers is a Rose plush? Obviously, he could just be a fan of Rose, but that is kind of out of character for most zombies. So in people's headcanon, Captain Deadbeard has a crush on Rose. Maybe there's an enemy to lover sort of story to be told here. She is a Rose after all, she's the perfect character to have a romance with a zombie. Pea Shooter X Zombie. While on the subject, for some reason, again in Garden Warfare 2, on the Great White North map you can find a TV with a kiss cam of a pea shooter and a zombie. What the hell? Was Captain Deadbeard watching this channel? And what freaky developer added this shit? Browncoat X Flag Zombie. Alright, Garden Warfare, you're done! No more shipping characters, you're cut off! Peanut. If you ever wonder what happens when a mommy plant and a daddy plant love each other very much, well, first off, you're a weirdo. And second off, Plants vs. Zombies unfortunately has the answer for you. Plants are apparently born in this world, and we know that thanks to 2 hybrid plants. Peanut's description in PvZ Heroes reads, Mom was a pea shooter, Dad was a nut. Everyone said it wouldn't work, but they were wrong. That's disgusting. DMI, Peanut! But he's not the only one. The fire flower in Garden Warfare 2 has a description. Rumor has it that a sunflower once went on a date with a fire pea. I hate how both of these are trying to be cryptic. Just be blunt! You had sex, grow up! Freaky Dave. This guy's making sex jokes too. In the dialogue for the Pirate Seas Endless Mode in PvZ 2, Dave says, Hi neighbor, welcome to Dead Man's Booty. I'd plunder that. I mean, I don't disagree, Dave, but keep it in your pants, jeez. Peeping Dave? Apparently he gets even freakier than that. In Garden Warfare, when he drops you off and flies into the distance, you can actually find him hiding on multiple maps. The absolute funniest example of which being when he hides behind these trees, and the front of the RV is literally peeking out of them, hence the Peeping Dave title. For once, I don't want to pretend like this is an innocent way to hide the RV for when it actually needs to return later. I choose to feed into the theories about how weird and creepy Crazy Dave might actually be, spying on us while we fight the zombies from a distance. I'll never see Crazy Dave the same ever again. Solar Flare Art. I think everyone likes the hero designs of Green Shadow and Solar Flare, but some people like them a little too much. Unfortunately, by simply searching for Solar Flare images on Google, you're going to come across some NSFW art, and by some, I actually mean a lot. In the past, I've shown a lot of these photos in my videos because I thought it was funny, but as this iceberg is meant to be a bit more serious, I'm going to save you guys the pain of having to see any of it. But I promise you, it is not hard to find Rule 34 of these characters. Daddy Do Not Leave. I found an old ad for the Chinese game PvZ Online, and I'd play it for you here, but it's like 5 minutes long, so I'll just go over what happens. I mean, this is like a 3-act story, so you should just go watch it yourself, but to simplify it down, it's about a little kid zombie who misses his dad, and gets to spend the whole day playing with him and idolizes him more than anything. But his dad can't always be there with him, and so on New Year's he's alone once more. But he opens the present his father left him, only to find it's a brand new shiny bucket for him to wear. And... shut up, I'm not crying, you're crying! Literally all the comments on this video are talking about how emotional they get just watching a damn PvZ ad. And after getting teary-eyed myself, I genuinely laughed out loud when they slapped the PvZ Online logo on the screen, complete with the damn boing sound effect. Also, the music in this ad is wonderful. easily the greatest marketing for any mobile game ever. Thank you, China. PvZ2 Evolve. I don't really know why Big Wave Beach became the fetish Rule 34 category, but I guess to end out the theme, let's look at everyone's favorite Chinese PvZ game, PvZ2 Evolve. Why is it everyone's favorite? Well, I think the thumbnail of my most popular YouTube short, currently sitting at 4.5 million views and constantly getting 4,000 views per day, can answer that question. Yep, we got anime women plants. Seriously though, why does the internet have to have so many creeps? This cannot be my lasting memory on this earth. It's just straight up a normal PvZ game, but then you have Pea Girl, or Cattail Girl, or even Walnut Girl. These designs are insane, which for me makes this game really funny, but I know the internet, and I know some people out there ain't laughing. So let's move on. Modern day. Fun video TV bootleg DVDs. As this is the final tier of the iceberg, I really had to think about how to make it special. I tried to say the best for last, but to start out this final section, I'm going to include some facts suggested to me by the YouTubers I've talked to who know a lot about Plants vs. Zombies. And let's start with Terror, who has made the best and most in-depth review of PvZ Replanted out there. He's shown me this fun video TV bootleg DVD of their Angry Birds crossover animation. A bootleg of a bootleg. I don't know how I get my hands on one of these, but I feel like it is my duty to do so, as I'm the Angry Birds and PvZ guy. Strange ad. Next, I asked Danaraid, who instead of giving me one thing, he opted to send me something new every night while I worked on this video. First up is the ad you could find on the store page of the mobile version of PvZ. It just has so many inconsistencies, using PvZ 1 and 2 clip art, this cursed hybrid pea shooter of the two art styles, and if you pause on the screen and zoom way in, it might be hard to see, but there's footage of some giant hypno shrooms that obviously never happened in the game. It's hacked or modded gameplay, just right there in the official trailer. His next fact was about the Fire Pea consumable plant in Garden Warfare 2, that shows up in one mission but nowhere else in the game. Next, in George Fan's game, Octageddon, he included a cameo of the Dolphin Zombie. And finally, we have a soundtrack from one of the earliest versions of the game, and the music is slightly different. I had no idea there were multiple versions of these songs. I'll play some of the grass walk as Danaraid suggested so you can hear for yourself. Anyways, everyone give a big thanks to Danaraid for being the biggest PvZ nerd I know. Non-derogatorily, of course. AI in Replanted. Chuba made a video on the lore of PvZ, so I figured he might know a thing or two that I don't. He mentioned stuff like the movie pitches in Project Hot Tub, which I'd already covered, and said I should include PvZ Replanted and the whole AI fiasco it went through. It's true, years from now this might be news to people who weren't keeping up with Replanted's release, which caused quite a bit of controversy. Basically, we got access to the files in the game and found a lot of shit was AI upscaled. That, and in the trailers and stuff, there was blatant AI usage as well. Now, to be fair, AI upscaling is not as bad as generative AI, and the way it was used in Replanted was just to make things easier. But it led to a lot of unintended weirdness, like Twin Sunflower looking like this. How was this not changed for the game's launch? Adding in all the other problems, like not putting in the music the way it was intended, or putting fake concept art in the archive section for no reason, it left a very sour taste in players' mouths, and basically ruined the launch of this remaster. I wonder if it sold well after all this. I honestly have no idea. But to put it simply, this game was not cooked, it was french fried. Java Edition. I asked Foco next, who had just released a video 100%ing every game in the series, and he had a lot of weird little games he'd found I'd never seen before. There's this code.org game with Plants vs. Zombies characters that help teach coding. It's a pretty harmless and cute collaboration. But he also said I had to include the PvZ Java version too, and I'm glad he showed this to me. If you've never seen it, it's pretty unbelievable. This is easily the worst version of Plants vs. Zombies out there. Not only because the graphics suck, but there's hardly animations. Every plant has like 4 frames it swaps between. The menu screen looks fan-made. And listen to the god-awful music. I'm sorry to force you to listen to that, but that's the only song you listen to on repeat through the whole thing. Lots of the fog level plants and all the upgrade plants are gone, there's missing zombies, and take a look at the final boss. All of this is just wrong. I don't know how this got made, how people can be allowed to play a version like this, but it's interesting at the very least. Fake PvZ 2 trailer. The The original Alex has made some of my favorite PvZ2 challenge videos out there, and I personally assume he's an expert on this game, especially considering the facts he sent me. Apparently, this fake PvZ2 trailer tricked a lot of fans of the series into thinking it was real before the actual sequel was announced. I have a hard time believing people fell for this, but I guess this was a long time ago. Here are some of my favorite plants and zombies shown in this trailer, and yes, this whole video is just showing these poorly designed characters for 3 minutes straight. PvZ Downfall Slop. Lastly, I asked Shagrod's Cave for any ideas for the Iceberg, and he said I should talk about PvZ Downfall Slop. I think PvZ slop content in general is interesting, and I'll talk about more of it in a second, but just to clarify what he means, if you've ever seen a video out there called something like Plants vs Zombies is Dead, or The Downfall of Plants vs Zombies, well, you and everyone else has seen these videos because there's hundreds of them. Like I said earlier about PvZ Replanted, this series is so huge and gets so many views that people just regurgitate the same opinions and ideas verbatim, and it leads to piles and piles of slot content and free money for creators. People say that I milk my PvZ videos, but trust me, if you think I'm doing it too much, you haven't seen these other channels. I'd like to think I try my best to stand out, but ultimately it's kind of impossible to do so, because all the videos on Plants vs Zombies just end up sounding the same as the last. And Shagrod's Cave is right. It is a big enough problem that deserves to be put on an iceberg. PvZ content farms. Additionally, there are videos out there that look like this and have millions of views. Like, without fail, I've never seen one of these videos that wasn't this successful. Who actually watches these? What part of a thumbnail like this makes you want to click on this video? I guess maybe kids do, or Chinese audiences? Not to say Chinese people love slop content, I just know Plants vs Zombies is really popular in China. Just like our last topic, there's so much of this stuff that it's worthy of being on the iceberg. Anyways, this is how I'm announcing my second channel, Crazy Dave is a Zombie. I thought this was the stupidest theory I've ever seen, but then I saw the evidence. And now I have reason to believe Crazy Dave is secretly a zombie. Now, first off, there's a ton of evidence fans have included in this theory that are so dumb, I'm mad I'm even giving them the attention. Someone said the meat in the taco in PvZ1 looks like human flesh. Bro has never seen a damn taco before, apparently. So that's not helpful. Otherwise, people say he speaks a different language. For a bunch of the games he is the only other person you see, yada yada, these are terrible. I'm not convinced. But then we get to the good stuff. Why does he have a pot on his head? The only other characters that do something similar are the Buckethead and Conehead. Is the pot a type of armor? Is Dave a pothead zombie? He's in charge of the iZombie levels. Why is Crazy Dave training these zombies? In Plants vs Zombies 3, you find Crazy Dave after being unconscious for 59 days, 6 hours and 26 minutes. What, is he hibernating? Nope, he's a zombie who cannot die twice. And lastly, the steak in Crazy Dave's coffin. On the far future day 25, while trying to ask for hot sauce, he slips up and asks for your brains instead. I'm sold, dude. It's real. Crazy Dave wants your brain. He's not actually crazy. He peeps on you in Garden Warfare because he's waiting for the time to strike. And yeah, okay, this theory sucks too. But you gotta admit it's fun to theorize on this character. He lends himself to mysteries and conspiracies super well. But that's all it is, silly conspiracies. Disturbing Garden Warfare concept art. I've already covered some Garden Warfare concept art, but you haven't seen anything yet. Before they had the art style or character design down, they were making stuff like this. Remember that creepypasta we covered earlier? Yeah, that doesn't hold a candle to this pea shooter. Arguably, the charmer designs are even more disturbing. Plants vs Zombies is known for its charming character design, so I really can't even fathom how we got to this point. These don't even resemble the characters anymore. But I guess it's concept art, and that's all it is. But even if it's not official, it can still give me nightmares. Plasma Pea. Did you know Plasma Pea was created by a fan in an art contest? It's true. And do you think that artist has any idea that they accidentally created the most dangerous mass murderer in existence? I'm not even trying to say I dislike Plasma Pea from a gameplay perspective. I'm saying in its description, we learn the shocking revelation. The Plasma Pea shooter shoots peas. Peas that are entire universes unto themselves. Peas of swirling, twirling galaxies, home to millions of stars. Peas with enormous nebulae that dwarf you and I. Peas sown of the very fabric of space-time, from which the infinite possibilities of the cosmos are born. With every single shot this pea shooter takes, you are destroying universes at a time, in rapid succession, too quickly to even understand the weight of the countless lives you're taking. Plasma Pea is a damn god, dude! And even still he can't make me good at this game. PvZ Hybrid. Some of the most famous fan games out there are based on fusing plants together to make hybrids, and the idea just makes so much sense, especially after getting plants like snow pea or twin sunflower. It is a no-brainer that the stuff works and is so dang popular. And so, in a Chinese game known as the Original Edition, which is a pretty ironic name in hindsight, as PVZ has stolen this hybrid concept for themselves, even using a lot of designs and concepts from the fan games. And these designs are a curse, dude. They're combining plants never meant to be combined. Zombie Walnut is real and he can hurt you. I never miss a chance to bring this up because they are without a doubt the strangest and most unbelievable designs out there. And I need you all to never forget, this was stolen from the fans. And now Plants vs. Zombies 3 is literally entirely themed around this very concept. Crazy Dave's Insane Prices. This is a real-life store that is maybe some bootleg tourist trap, or maybe, just maybe, the actual Crazy Dave works there. I'll have to visit someday. P-Bob Square Shooter. As someone on the PVZ Wiki so expertly put it, oh hell no, SpongeBob. I've talked about this stupid thing in multiple videos now, but I've yet to actually explain it. This is obviously some crappy fan art that is not official in any way, but for whatever reason, the Chinese mini program PVZ2 Expedition used it as their app icon. That's why it's always shown like this, not a cutout PNG. So it's a really weird situation where the art itself doesn't appear in a game, and wasn't even made by an employee from a company that works on these games. It was just found and used in an official game and has now solidified itself as one of the weirdest and funniest things the franchise has ever seen. Garden Warfare on the ceiling. In a Kotaku article from 2015, it must have been a slow news week, I guess, as we got this post called Why There's an Xbox One Game Stuck to My Ceiling. The author explains that he saw a big scary spider, sprayed it with glue, and then smashed it with whatever was closest to him to finish the job, which just so happened to be Garden Warfare. 5 years later, in 2020, the box remains, keeping that spider encased like a tomb up there. It's a silly little story, I guess. I wouldn't have included it normally, but the best part is, the Battle for Neighborville devs put a Garden Warfare box on the ceiling of the Z-Tech Uzavar map. That is, potentially up there as one of the greatest Easter eggs in any video game ever. Some say that game case is still stuck to the ceiling to this day. And finally, the funniest and most shocking thing I learned while making this video is the PVZ prison escape. In a prison in the Philippines, a guard was too busy on his phone playing Angry Birds, Subway Surfers, Block Blast. No, of course, he was playing Plants vs. Zombies, and this distraction allowed prisoners to escape. Plants vs. Zombies should be held responsible. They're the only ones at fault here. But yes, what an amazing story. You can't make that shit up, and that's how I'd like to end our Iceberg. I'm going to keep the ending of this video short as the rest of it was very long. I think this might be my longest edit video to date and potentially has the most work and editing involved out of any video I've ever made. Simply researching writing this 27-page script took nearly a week to finish. I wanted to put my all into this video as I believe in what I can make, and I think Plants vs. Zombies deserves a definitive Iceberg video. Not to say mine will always be the best. I would love for someone to go even deeper than I tried to here, but I mean it when I say I want to make this the best Iceberg video I could make, so please let me know if you enjoyed it, want to see more like it, and potentially leave a like on this video if you did. And if you're feeling generous, I do have a Patreon where you can watch my videos early as a bonus, or you can become a channel member and receive shoutouts like Patrick Byers-John, Keep, Callum Ford, Timur Kurnov, Aaron the Ghoul, Freakish Smile, Lewis, Dante, MGR Damadan, Einar Jar, Jonathan Biscoff, OK, Kirby Fan Real 1992, Green Man Yeah, Alice Wilson, MacDax2, Lavatane Chillin, Purple Man 932, Tess Monkey, Sleepy Boy 74, or Sethos 9250, Whale Hujeri, Jeb the Legend, and Skibbity. I didn't want to say anything during the video, but the amount of times I said PVZ in this video hopefully didn't get annoying, and hopefully you didn't take a shot every time I did. Otherwise, you'd have taken 167 shots, and I'd have your death on my conscience forever.